What age does my child qualify for Arizona ESA funding? Such a simple question that literally blew my mind. Here's the question that started it all. My wife came to me this morning and said, when does Annabelle, that's our youngest daughter, qualify for Arizona ESA funding? And I go, let me find out. An hour and a half later, I had whiteboards filled, boxes. I'm bringing her. I'm like, okay, if this is here, if this is this much pain for me, I got to make a simple video that helps everyone else out. So here we go. Let me give you the practical example, and then I'll get into the rules. This is my daughter, Annabelle, full of joy and goodness. She is 4 years old. She will turn 5 in March 2024. Because videos on YouTube will age, today's date is November 2nd, 2023. The key fact that leads to rule number 1 is you need to know when your child turns 5. Because Arizona ESA rule number 1 says, to qualify, the child must turn 5 by January 1st of the school contract year. That is what blew my head up. Contract years run from July 1 to June 30th of the following year. So if you look at the current date, we're November 2nd, 2023, so we're technically in the 2023 to 2024 school year. By the way, that's how you should look at that. This is the 23-24 school year. So let's look at little Annabelle right here. She is 4 years old. She turns 5 in March 2024. Okay, that's within that school year, right? Nope. To qualify, the child must be 5 years old by January 1 of that contract year, that school year right here. She's not 5 by January, that will be in there, so she does not qualify for ESA funding for the 23-24 school year. Okay, what about next year? That would be the 2024 to 2025 school year, which is how you should look at it. And I would look to say, oh, okay, in there will be January 1st, 2025. Annabelle will be 5 years old by January 1st, 2025. Thus, she qualifies for this whole school year. And this is where my mind blew up because I thought, so does that mean she only gets funding starting with January 2025 of that school year? No. Funding something else, and I can actually talk about that too in just a second. She qualifies for funding for that whole school year. That, right? This thing right here. From July 1st, 2024 to 25, she qualifies for that block of funding. Let me get this all out of here because I want to make sure you know rule number 2. Your funding will begin the quarter your ESA contract is signed. So even though rule number 1 says January 1, birthday tells whether or not you qualify for the school year as a whole, the funding is handled differently. The fact that Annabelle will qualify for this school year means she can be funded for that school year as long as I apply for it. ESA breaks it into 4 quarters. So now you've got a much prettier version of my whole whiteboard. ESA rule number 1 is there solely to tell you which school year you qualify for funding. Once you know what school year you qualify for, make sure you apply for the ESA program in the first quarter of that school year. If you mistakenly think, oh, I must only qualify for funding after July 1st, which I did, my own brain, thank you, my darling wife, for helping me through this. If you wait till that January to apply, you'll miss these 2 months of funding and you can't get them back. So use ESA rule number 1 to figure out which school you can apply for, and then apply for quarter 1 of that year so that you get the funding for all 4 quarters. I don't know why it feels so much more complex to me than it really is, but that is how you can determine when your child qualifies for ESA funding and make sure that you sign them up as early as possible to get the most funding that you can for your homeschool adventure.